we need to then say that we need to shape up. When I talk about heathens, is the fact that we cannot complain like we can't change things. Things are changing around us. And then there are still people who say that, no, nothing is happening. And you don't see around us things are happening. You know, comrades, let's pick one thing. Let's talk about corruption. We no longer talk about what we have done to fight corruption. We have accepted what those who want to bring us down have basically sold to society. That ANC is rotten to the core and that there's nothing to believe in here. There's no turning back. ANC is gone. Let's take that particular point and look at the state through the ANC's influence. What is happening around us? What institutions we have actually created around us and what are they doing? In government, we have seen that there's so much corruption that could happen here. So we must create laws that are not just going to mitigate but deal with this rampant corruption. What brings corruption, comrades? When we came into power, we inherited this big animal called the state. And now this state, we are looking at this state, it's a big animal. And then in this state, there is huge resources. There is huge resources here. You are given a position today, and then you are in charge of billions and billions of rands. And then you then start to become an attractive person to society because you control and you are in charge of these huge resources. And that is what has actually happened. And two, here is the process of tenders. You can get rich through a tender. Look at the profile of people who are accused of corruption who have benefited out of tenders. They have not finished school, they are crooks. But their proximity next to people who control resources have made them rich. Very few of them. The names we read about in public, go and find them. But when you look close to them, you'll find that they are rich because of their proximity. They are close to Mbalula because Mbalula happened to be the minister or Mbalula happened to be the CEO, and then things get to be channeled through the supply chain management and everything else, and this crook get rich. Look at their profile, all of them, and then look at yourself and the profile of these people who are mentioned here. And the houses now, they happen out of the proceeds. It is alleged they got out of proceeds of corruption. Who are they? What are their struggle credentials? But they don't have struggle credentials. But the biggest loser in that is the ANC. They are associated with us. Then ask yourself a question, why? Why? Somebody goes there, win a tender of 360 million. 360 million at the police. That person is not a member of the ANC, comrades. It's not. No, we win a police. We win a police in Latin 360. Banjiwe, accused ngento ezinkulu. Lweli bail. This person, credentials in the struggle and the ANC, Dololo. But you know why, comrades? These tenders, they will never flourish if they don't have connection with some of us who wield political power. Behind every crook, there is a political figure. Now, this is what is called bureaucratic bourgeoisie that was characterized by Joe Slovo, that emerged out of the Bantustans. Bureaucratic bourgeoisie, not even comprador, because comprador bourgeoisie are those who accumulate wealth out of external influence. Those ones, ngabethenda, they accumulate a bit of wealth out of political connectivity. Motlanthe talks about this thing in 1996 in his report, that the ANC is mortgaged. Now, in renewal, how do we deal with that? And what have we done? Mbeki in 2007 introduces laws including PRECA and say, and therefore PRECA is going to kick in to deal with this corruption out of political connectivity. That's why people get to be charged with that. But tenders is things that can make people and they've made us to fight among ourselves. And then we went further, introduced institutions, SIU, proclamations. But these institutions over time were weakened. And that's what we're rebuilding now. So when I say, singakhali njengabantu abangengomakholwa, who are not believers, who've got no faith. But also faith is built on something concrete. We must have faith that things will change because we see the decisiveness of leadership in terms of dealing with a rampant corruption in the state, in particular, element of the state which is government. So, government corruption is rampant because of tenders. Tenders have become an enabler of corruption within government. Because government is not entirely the state. The state is bigger than government. Government is just but one element of the state. And the foundational course teaches you that government is one element. And when you look at that, because of our ascendancy to political power and being exposed to resources so huge that we had to manage, we then got to be exposed to this, and others thought that is the picnic. And you're not going to resolve that either than making it a point that the state is strong and is not weakened. You see the things that are alleged there at Zondo. They implicate the state. So once the rule of law and the state is weakened, forget, you are on a big highway to Banana Republic. We have just come out of the grey listing now, which is very important. But once the rule of law collapses, and what is the rule of law? The rule of law is the institutions you build. And if they collapse, picnic. There is a time, even whether correct or wrong, whenever they say the Scorpions have surrounded the building of Maspala, you know that somebody is going to be arrested, but convicted. But today, even when you see the Hawks, there's no worry. That crook is going to come back next week. That's when people lose hope in the state. This thing, it can't be corrected by just speeches and rhetoric. It's renewal. Renewal means strengthening state institutions. Institutions that must fight this corruption. So we can't cry like we don't have faith. We are in power, comrades. And this renewal is going to make us fight. Joel Nechitenze says, those who don't want it will do what? Will not allow it to succeed. And they will never go down without. That's what Joel said. Joel Peter Maibui said, those who are against renewal and who are fighting it will never go down without a fight. They will never. They will want to drag others down with them and undermine the renewal project. So the renewal project, which is influenced by the ANC and wrapped off into the state, is what the 55th conference mandated us about defining the content of that renewal. And that's what Ramaphosa, as a president, is leading. It's not him. It's what the conference said we must do. What did they say we must do? They said at some point we have veered away. We must come back. It was reflected in our manifesto. Because we have begun to do things like state capture and all of that. And the effect of that has wrapped off to what we've got today. And somebody gave an example there and says that at some point the state collapse party apportions that on an individual. At some point the state actually collapsed. Now talking about the policing system in the country. It's not only police, it's even institutions, others that were going to help us were basically being corrupted. Worse off the tendering system that we've got in the country and within government. So the question before us is, what do we do as a party in terms of this? Most importantly, the ANC needs to focus on 5 critical areas in terms of renewal: commitment and dedication to rebuilding the ANC, investing in ideological development of ANC members. That's very important. That's why we've got the foundational course that we're implementing. That foundational course is empowering us as members to have the capacity to think for ourselves and to be independent and assist our organization to grow ideologically and to be able to see on our own between the wrong and right and make our analysis independently going forward. Consequent management ensuring revolutionary discipline of ANC members. Governance and improving service delivery challenges and decisive action. We didn't have this terminology. It's not part of our lexicon. Service delivery. It's new. Mbeki didn't like this at some point. He said, what is service delivery? But we've got it now. Service delivery to the people. It's part of us. It's things that we've inherited along the way. But they don't come from us. We just got them from universities and then put it and then say there is something called service to the people, and therefore we must deliver. Effective guiding and responding to governance and organizational challenges. Comrades, if I am going to stand in front of you as the Secretary General belonging to a collective, we don't provide answers in the challenges that we face in the country, and then cry with the rest of society, then how will society believe in us? When li runa re alla, President wa alla, li bompalula ka mo balla, ai, li osuole o sa tsebeng frontline state king, the leadership is on autopilot. I don't know, how sa na boetapele. Upalwa ku tseba hore frontline state king, mar autopilot o itseba tsoa fela hore there's autopilot in this country. So leadership means we must do extraordinary things in terms of decisiveness. And you comrades have given us the mandate to do those things. And those things will make you not to have friends. You know, here in Joburg, we're supposed to appoint These comrades are supposed to do something here. When you ask them a question, they don't think about the ANC. They tell you what others are doing. You see a co-opted organization. It doesn't say, ANC is no longer in a position to say, ANC must be in a position to say, we are 40%, but we want Bella Act. We are 40%, but we want, NHI. If that breaks the back of the camel, let it be. The ANC cannot say, in this coalition we are in with DA and everybody in the GNU, we succumb to you. The fundamentals are fundamentals, because I was saying to the DA one time, what you are asking us is to close shop. I was in the White House meeting with the people there who are talking a lot of things about us. I say to them in the United States of America, they said I went to Libya. I went to also White House, and it was never advertised. You don't know that. Because I don't write a memo. I'm the Secretary General. I report to Ramaphosa. I said, President Ngishona ngala, or nguyong tumai. Ngibizi press conference. Ngithunyiwe. Uyayazi mangisuka la ukuthi ngashona eZimbabwe tonight ziyaduma. I must advertise that. I won't do that. I'm elected. I don't have luxury to go to these countries and all of that. Just for fun. Don't have that luxury. Some of these countries are dangerous. Comrades, you must know that. But we have committed ourselves to promoting peace and building bonds between ourselves and other nations. So, we do this work in terms of the organization, which is very, very, very much important. Now, we account to our membership about that based on the responsibilities that we've got. So renewal in itself requires us as political organization engage in political activities and all the time interrogate what is to be done. What is to be done must be with us all the time. In line with the ANC strategic goal defined in the National Democratic Society, which is our goal, we live for that every day. And what I said to people in the White House, I say to them, what you are asking us to do, when you say, they say to us, these Americans of President Trump, they say to us, we must do away with PE. I said, most you are asking us to close shop. You are asking us to close shop. If you say PE, triple PE, affirmative action, you are saying to us, we must kill redress. That's why we are ANC. You are saying we must then cede power to the DA. They must then be in charge. We are not them. We might meet there in the government of national unity, but we are not one. So defining who we are in that government, Comrade Sasabon, means we must fight what is right. Sellout position will mean giving up on Bella Act. We are not going to pass any law now, comrades, easily. Let me guarantee you. We have worked very hard. But there is no law that is just going to pass now. As you can see, even the budget doesn't just flow. We have to wait because we have lost power. Yeah, comrades, when you ask them a strategic question, you are in Joburg, all of us were in Joburg. You must ask a simple question. Don't try to be clever. What is in for the ANC in this thing? If we have to support this thing, what is it? Don't start first by telling me that PA wants this and all of that. What, come and tell us this. Let me tell you in the Western Cape how the ANC lost power. On that point, let me have a Zambak. I'm moving towards the end. How the ANC lost power. Yeah, I'm not. I can't kiss. I'm with comrades here. I can't kiss. I can't just be kissing it. So what I'm saying, how the ANC lost power in the Western is when our comrades got to be co-opted into the agenda of the opposition. Remember, we're in the GNU by vote, not by choice. By vote, that we had to share power with the DA. ANC comrades were gossiping each other to the DA, selling each other out. And ask Mbalula the following questions. And the DA does that. And then the enemy and the opposition began to see that the ANC is weak. Comrades, we are in a coalition in Johannesburg, in Ekurhuleni and everywhere else, but we must not forsake our identity. We must at some point arrive at, I see political parties threaten us. If this thing doesn't happen, we are leaving. Nanzange ndaboni ANC thusa abantu. Ukuthi nathi if this doesn't happen, nathi we are not coming. Asizi. Soloko kumthebelele la ekhaya yonke into iyadlula. For the sake of others. Even they force us to take decisions that are wrong, that we don't support. Why? Because as individuals, let the truth be told, our pockets are lined up. We stand to benefit if so and so is elected or is appointed in a particular position. ANC can't say no. ANC can't say no. ANC agrees with that because comrades are fine. Comrades, the revolution will punish us, not even the masses. The revolution. This thing of the revolution led by people who are fun-loving, nice time, and who just think about fun times, and rather than what is in the interest of the party, is wrong, politically. And we must now reach a point where are these revolutionaries? Revolutionaries are not defined by slogans, are defined by their deeds. If these comrades of Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni and Tshwane are fighters in a coalition, we'll see them through their deeds. Ukuthi ayalwa lama comrades, ayasilwela. They are fighting for the revolution not to collapse. Not comrades we send, even in a coalition, then they go there, they get to be transformed by others. They teach us better how the system is good. No, Mchana, don't go that way. The system doesn't work like that. Local government, Mchana, works in a particular way. Yes, we are talk. Yes, talk said. He's playing with our minds because we are ignorant. He's advancing a particular cause. Comrades are prepared to bury each other, and then they give it colorful things. Not even strategic maneuver or tactical maneuver, just personal maneuver. For a personal maneuver. Tell us what is in the interest of the ANC in this thing we're about to embark upon. Don't tell us that what are others say. No, before you come to others, did you go to others and say, here is the position of the ANC? Or ngumnike. If it is like that, we must accept, most comrades. We understand that. I understand this thing perfectly myself, where I am, that there is nothing we do without negotiating. I understand the perfect position that comrades in the metros are in. And then they say, you must climb the back of the crocodile you must climb the frog or whatever to cross. Okay? Akitsibi mavenda bari. President explained this thing to us. He explained it in Venda all the time. And then they say that you must Barking Mavenda, you walk over the Lotao Kaba. Yeah. You walk over that watching and feeling the pain, but the objective you are going to is that one. Comrades don't even tell you that. They just want us to get into these things because bafuna manje bona ukungena in those particular things. The real point I'm emphasizing, comrades, is that can we have interest of the ANC at heart and argue for the ANC? Don't tell me that so-and-so's interest is this. Even PA got K10 at least in Endo Melai. K10 will tell you, I'm a brewer, Khani sales, Baizani. Rina Arna Niximos, we know I was Baiza, why we? Nati must get 30, says Simeng and Doyetu. At least say, I didn't have the mandate of the party, let me go. Not that when I've met Mbalula Ziatu, I tell comrades the other day that, comrades, it's like running a board. I'm the Secretary General, but I'm accountable. I'm at Luthuli House. The president is not here, he's out of the country. The president cannot come in the country and here SG have agreed with Sasavona to take a big decision. I will be suspended summarily. It's like an CEO of the board who takes a decision to transfer billions without talking to the board. We read about these people, they are suspended, they are dismissed. No, I must preside over the carcass of the ANC. Big decisions are taken and the organization doesn't know. And it's not like I'm sitting on the job at Luthuli House. I'm not being briefed. But no quarantine. Do you want to say announce a P? That in no ways. You announce that thing, you are on your way out. Mao Zedong says deal with one to educate others. So the ANC get into the council chamber, they can't take a decision. Because but the decision is done. It's done. The organization. So I'm trying to say to you, comrades, learn to consult. Renewal requires consultation. You can't just do as you wish. When we went to the NEC and we debated, there are comrades who did not agree with the GNU. We debated for 2 days. Eventually we agreed that the right tactical intervention is the GNU. And just to divert a bit, why? There are many options. The opposition says to us when we are negotiating with them, I want to give you an example. When we are negotiating with them, they say, first step, hey, that meeting was going to end very quick. They say, no, ANC, take minority government. Take the whole of national government, run it. And then, Tina, Nisieke to run legislatures. I'm giving you an example. Behind the closed doors. It's just that books are written, they are not written by you educated scholars and people who write books in days. Come and ask Mbalula what happened in that discussion. Our people are not writing. Kupala belungu nge GNU. Omendi menir dina kam book written about GNU. You comrades and our people are not writing about this GNU. And most educated people. And when we get there, they say, and then I become interested. But by that time, we had done our work. Because we had a number of options on the table. And in terms of each option, we analyzed the risks. In terms of each option. Before we even come to the option of the GNU, we debate. And then here are opponents, they say to us, no, take minority government and run government on your own. We're not in a hurry. And then I go, and then somebody, the discussions are very complex. When you negotiate in a very complex environment. And then we pick up the vibe that these people are saying that ANC is going to take that position quicker because they are thieves. They want to run government. They are interested in government and blue lights. Leave them. Can you imagine where will we be now? If we had just decided on that and not GNU and accepted that, all of us will still be in cabinet with all the positions belonging to us, but we will never deliver. Because when we go to parliament, we're going to meet something like this. And that is why we agreed to GNU with elements of confidence and supply. That you are in government, let's go all together, but at the same time we can share the spoils when it comes to the legislature. In that legislature, there is nothing that passes. You want to appoint somebody, it takes months. If not, they kick it out. They kick it out. Take for an example the budget. We went, we analyze, we say to our people, VAT, mitigate the poor, zero rated. In terms of milk, maize meal, bread, all of that, everything that should be affordable for the working class and our people must be zero rated. They come there, they say no ways, no to VAT. Budget ya stuck. Samanati. You think that I relate this story that my hair is grey because of ANC BGMs? No, GNU. We negotiated for full month, back and forth. Now, somebody says, we're negotiating, he says, no, leave them, we'll find them with the budget. Leave the ANC, we'll find them. Hey, we start dismissing their ministers and all of that. And then came the budget, it was tougher than you would have liked. We had to cut corners, come to the reality. Eventually, what was our decision but in the best interest of South Africans? We had to retreat. We had to retreat. What is the solution? And all of that, and so on. We had to retreat on that particular thing. So, there is nothing that goes without being negotiated today in this government, in this country. But the ANC have maintained, taking off from the 6th administration to the 7th administration, we have signed into law. We have signed into law pieces of legislation that we passed with our majority in the last administration. And they want to block it now using the judiciary. They are putting everything on review in terms of the judiciary. And that is when now the judiciary wants to prescribe policy from the bench. Also, there is a danger there that the judiciary can define policy from the bench, which now raises a new debate about separation of powers, and which is very fundamental. And there is the example. A judge can decide, give people antiretrovirals without a process that government would have undergone to test all of these things. A big debate we had in this country about mother-to-child transmission, never pie. And and what you call these drugs of HIV and AIDS and ARVs and all of that. We had a big debate at some point. And then the issue became, can this be prescribed without passing the test of clinical research in our own country? We just bring drugs here and give to the people without it being properly channeled. And then that's when they started to insult to Mamumanto, Mtwe Petrut, and all of that and so on. May his soul rest in peace. But the fundamental debate around that question was a question of separation of powers. That judges were now encroaching in the space that did not belong to them. So, they are now seeking to undermine transformation in our country by using the judiciary. You pass Bella Act to the judge. You pass this, it's tested to the judge. So everything Matamela signs into law is being challenged right now as we speak. That is a consequence of losing a majority, comrades. And the tactical maneuver for the ANC was GNU, not minority government. Minority government was going to sink us further. This thing that we love blue lights, we love everything else and controlling government. Remember, when you are there and the legislature is in this direction, the point is that you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable. So this time around is up and down. You go to the legislature, we go. And then it is GNU with elements of confidence and supply. There are people who are in the GNU who are not in government, and they've chosen that we don't want government. Like Rise Mzansi, they are chairing Scopa, Songezo Zibi. Because at least he's got principles. Asimarata hele urno this was Fumana Dingu Minister of Justice or something. Tina ANC, why we don't have breaks? Once somebody show us a position, we go there running. Comrades, the ANC, in terms of its capacity, that we've got, you being the branches, to come back has proven to be difficult. Even in Cape Town, where we are supposed to be an all-outright opposition. Here in Johannesburg, we have now been in coalition for the second term. We then need to shape up. And I'm happy about what our comrades inside this coalition in Johannesburg are doing. There is identity now, I begin to see, of our mayor doing things. I'm very happy about that. But that was lacking for some time. It was. And then you want to blame it on others. That is the same, comrades. We control most positions in the government of national unity. Why are we worried about a small party? Why? We run government. We run government. Nobody else. Comrades get panic when Mantashe says capacity tool. He was saying it in jest. It didn't mean we don't have capacity. Jest means ube joker. Wagcina se serious kakhulu naye. And then the opposition and our enemies wanted to use that against us. And I understand perfectly. Comrades are in a difficult situation on the ground. And then to be told that you don't have capacity. By far again. We are what? And our comrades got a bit edgy about it. But here's the reality when the feelings are gone and the cameras are gone. Here's the reality. The ANC must perform better. If you compare apples to apples, if your opponent has got the same resources as you and is outperforming you at the same level you are at. Why? It means there is a problem. So it brings us to the question of leadership, intervention. And that's why we have adopted this intervention action plan. But if that action plan is not going to mean anything, it's useless. I'm from a meeting before I come here. We have taken decisions, but I'm not going to tell you. We're going to announce them this week. It's not going to be there. It's going to be everywhere in the country by November. But some of the decisions border on the ineptness, and at the same time, corruption, and at the same time, lack of governance. We have had to intervene to change things. Many things have happened in front of us as leaders. Municipal manager useless, siyamyeka. Because municipal manager, sorting us out. Sorting, not even us, 1%. Wake wayibona apho umuntu ayitya imali yethenda abe rich kangaka eyedwa. Not Polokwane here in Joburg. There are many tenderpreneurs here who are very okay. 1% with tender money and all of that because ama-comrade grant. And ama-comrade wethu akathengwana ngemali, bathengwa ngemali eziningi, 50 rand, 100,000. Politician right. Thina siyezwa laphana mawuhleli social politician unika imali engaka. You know, most of our comrades have been charged. Some of them are on there en route to jail for 300,000. And then a criminal has gone home with millions. A poor politician, comrade Yako, has compromised himself and the ANC for 300,000. 300,000. Mameli scandal. A comrade is going to jail en route for 300,000. A crook has pocketed millions of rands. And then claiming in the meantime that this is going to the ANC. Nothing. Nothing comes in the direction of the movement. Even this ANC you are talking about. The people have lost believability in the vehicle, but they believe in the ideas. They believe in the ideas of the ANC. So all in all, what I'm saying, comrades, is that this question about corruption and renewal, it doesn't mean that we must cry like heathens. There is faith, there is direction. If leadership here in Joburg is just obsessed about who becomes the next chairperson and secretary and have lost track of governance, you will lose power here. It will be gone. Azange mnanda babono sasabona bexakekile besilwela ukuthi siwine apha eJoburg. And andimhlebi ndimxelela phambi kwenu. But they are very fast on the first lane about elections. Hayi apho ngabatholo sasa hayi ngeke ulale. But baye bangikhuthaza mangibona besilwa kukho by elections in Babone, they are united. By elections, they are united. We lost the by election there. Nangoku asikalali ngumashaba. You see, when the leadership here in the region is giving guidance to this branch, leadership, not when they want our votes, when there is a conference. This conference of Joburg is going to pass. But the bigger agenda is beyond the conference. It's about how we sustain ourselves. Because we are facing existential crisis. We are facing existential crisis. And fundamentally the question is, what do we do about that? What do we do about that? And that is what is facing our leadership. Not only national, we want the revolutionaries, indeed, who are fighting. You should be telling us, comrades, we are not going this direction, we are going this direction. here on the ground. You should be showing from the front that we are reclaiming this Johannesburg. Stop arguing about some Magogo who's announced. Nathi, let's have our own Magogo. Yeah, kawukhuluma ngabanye abantu. Awuboni mos naseluthula sikhulumi ngalamuntu. Namanje angeke nimbize ngegama. Uyabo, masibe newari ngento yethu. I'm happy now. I see the ANC focused, the mayor focused. That mayoral position is big. Even here, Sasa, when we're negotiating, and then comrades were negotiating, they said, no, give them mayorship. We know that's what they want. And then bona bazabela position as imnandi that are about delivery. And then nina ngoba nithanda into ezimnandi mayor, you go rush in there. So Manitola mayor as ANC, he 77. You are not governing alone here. But why are people in Johannesburg believe that most of the problems in Johannesburg are now problems of the ANC when we lost power 10 years ago? And this DA that is making so much noise, they run this place down. There was Mashaba here, Nilibet. When we lost power, there was him, Ehambela Pezul. And then they fought among themselves, working with EFF. They were working here. And EFF said, no, we are not coming into the council. We are staying out. Even now, Mpomwerani, may his soul rest in peace. He died being a leader of the opposition here in Johannesburg. We lost Joburg, and for some time, we're not even in the executive. But our comrades could not even exploit that possibility. We run a whole lot of constituencies around Johannesburg are under the ANC control. DA, where they win with bigger numbers. You know why? Abelungu, they don't need to. They are convinced wherever they are, DA. No vusa tomorrow what vote. We are vote. Our people, you've got to bavuselele. Why are we in the disadvantage? It's because these people have been battered by apartheid for more than 300 years. And they've seen oppression. And they expect a lot from us. Even if we don't convince them, at least by our deeds, we must convince them that we are with them. But if our deeds are far away from them in terms of renewal, and therefore, but they do understand, Bona, they must live in poverty language there, but our deeds are saying something different, they will get demoralized, but they won't leave us. As it has happened, they will get demoralized. They'll say, but our leaders have sold us out. And that's where renewal kicks in. What is renewal? Renewal means we must walk the talk. We must do things that when our integrity is challenged, we must be in a position to take steps to address that. Now, Joel was right, it's not going to be easy. We are quick to coalesce and come to a corner to defend wrongdoing. You know, and I thank you, comrades, as members of the ANC, for giving me this opportunity to lead you as SG. You know, some of the comrades in this position, things they say to me, I go home sometimes regretting, why did I stand? And then they say, hey, this thing of integrity and the things you are preaching is of figure naguwe one time. Now threatening me not to place things on the agenda. And then now it looks like I'm going to be alone here. And then they say, hey, Mchana, you are going to be alone in this thing. But the fact of the matter is that it comes with the territory. You've got to deal with things that even affect your friend in the organization and put them across. And then if they define you as a problem, then they start to organize how to remove you. If they define you, a problem here to heal. Now, comrades, I'm happy to be removed for pursuing renewal than being removed because I'm corrupt. I'm happy. I must be removed because I'm pursuing renewal, not because I was inept in dealing against corruption. If that is the issue, then let it be. And corruption does not have eyes. If it affects me, it must eat. Organization must be decisive. Because the ANC, we can't be crime foul. We must keep on repeating ourselves like Casey and Jojo, that the ANC didn't send people to steal. Those who steal must stand on their own. We are members of the ANC, and this ANC is not going to die in our hands. If Mbalula steals, ANC didn't send you to steal. Face the law, Budi or Sisi. Face the law. And a single piece says, South Africa, in the positions that we're in, history demand of us to succeed. And it doesn't start with the people outside. It starts with the members, members of the ANC, who must go and influence society about your organization. You get to be insulted. Even insulted. One about talking to the Kaizer Chiefs, Abasa talking as the ANC. That's the best you can wear. No be Chiefs here, Liwandi, I talk about Kunzi Mukoga le ANC. I t-shirt. Funa kuyiqoka I t-shirt ye ANC. Ungasad. Because you know, people identify themselves. We are not going to organize people through Kwaito or Mapiano concerts. We are going to organize them through the reality of intervention. And I'm happy about Justice because with Justice you will never miss him in action. And comrades of this branch, it can be ungafunga nokuthi bangena isikole vets. You will get fees must fall. About Justice, they are there. Dambuza Justice ungene vets what Damfumane hambela phambili pha. Ehleli pha umtshana mesithi no comrade Mbax. Look, it's when he was there. I didn't know we can't leave the students alone. Did he hear? I'm a minister that time. Uyang mem uthi manje machini yabantwana besikolo uthi hey chief, I'm a minister man. These people are marching my direction. You say I must join them. And then Banabo AKA that time, may his soul rest in peace. AKA. So they are there joining the students. They're going to Union Building. That's how and that's what the struggle means. You become the voice and you are amongst them. And that's what is important. And renewal needs us to be that. Exactly that. So, comrades, it is going to be important before we look very far and outside ourselves. Let's look inside and lead our renewal in as far as ourselves we are concerned. Let us not be concerned about what others think about us. Who will they think about? Because we are in power. It is called incumbency. Don't blame people when they wake up and think about the ANC and blame them for this and that. They blame us because we are in charge. And the easiest job of the opposition is to look at the ANC. And then you just wake up and open your mouth against the ANC. You are in the business of politics. Open your mouth about the ANC. General practice. Open your mouth where it's painful. Hema, come in. Hema, and all of that. And then all what you do now, open your mouth criticize the ANC, you are in. And you don't feel bad. Even a person you know is challenged, even in their own personal life. Abantu bavuka ngathi mosikwezi insuku. Umuntu wiswe ngumculo uwile uvuka ngathi. Umuntu was a soccer player wasela utshwala wayimosha ibhola yakhe uvuka ngathi. Mawufuna uba popular nje. The easiest thing you can attack is the ANC. You want to be popular and be affirmed emsebenzini in a radio station, open your mouth at 6 a.m. every day. And then they will praise you. Hey, awisabi when ANC. Me, I tell them where to get off. You guaranteed that you will be employed for the next 5 years. You are doing a great job. You will be praised. Doors will open for you. In no time, you will be in the US. You will be everywhere in Europe. Kungaziwa lo muntu unyuka kanjani so fast. Awuyazi when into edlisayo la. Into emnandi. Criticize the ANC. And then if you want to be in the streets, come close. And then if you are there wearing an ANC, mina ngabona omnye umfana nabantu who freedom has come and they are beneficiaries of it. They are the first who say that this government must go. Dibone omnye umuntu lana esithi iBE ndake ndamleka lo muntu lo that no iBE has failed. Now it's black. Now I say you wouldn't be a CEO of a company big as the one that you lead if it was not BEE, an affirmative action. You wouldn't be. Redress. No ways. That's why we improved BEE to triple BEE. Because we want this thing to be broad-based. We too don't want wealth that ends in few black hands. Don't be afraid to say that. We don't want that. BEE was quickly coming in, and then even those who control wealth, they then began to co-opt us into their agenda. We were white capitalists co-opted us in their agenda. For us to move faster, we need Fikile Mbalula. He's got credentials. He's got political cover. And that is it. And then comrades got fattened very quick and fast. And then we can mention them. And this ubabiza ngamagama. Because if I can mention them, you are going to wake me up in the morning. But landu buisho ngosoronso, it is not right. Now, so that is what has happened here. That even those who are beneficiaries of what we have championed to redress are the ones now who are on the other side. They are the shouting the loudest that this government must be brought down. And that's what they say. And then they forget so quick about where we actually come from. So comrades, we are going to win this, and we are winning. And how are we winning is because leadership must be steadfast. Leadership must be steadfast in implementing what we have resolved as the ANC on renewal. And I've mentioned to you many things that we need to do. First, internal in the party, and then look at outside. And stop crying like as if we've got no faith and nothing is happening. Something is happening. If it is not happening, we must continuously remind each other about that. We must act decisively in terms of implementing renewal. But we must not misunderstand renewal connected to unity, meaning unity of convenience. And that unity means lack of difference. Doesn't mean that. It means that we can differ by telling each other the truth. And that does not mean that you are killing the party. But know the platform where you must say it. Even if you are alone, don't allow wrong things to happen. Ujongile. Because if we have this mob psychology, because first we count, how many are you in the top 5, Sasa, who agrees with this policy? We are 4. It's 4 against 1, and all of that. And then that's how we run the organization, by arithmetic. So organization is going to die. So unity does not mean lack of difference. We must be persuaded and be engaged, even if you can be alone about the matter that. So we are not in this thing of unity of convenience. For instance, we are united with the Communist Party. And then, vungu, then they come to us about a new topic altogether. No, we are standing on our own. Then when we are faced with the storm, izizunguzane, where we need each other. And the bus attack right at the point when we thought we all understand where we are. We are in trouble. And then they say, no, now we stand on our own. It means these people have got no faith in the NDR and the coming back story of the ANC. If the argument is socialism, is the one that makes us to be on our own, there's nothing you can do about it. It's their program. But if they say, no, we want to come in because state power, immediately after you are at 40%, then it means there is a problem there. It's like being with your lover all the years and then he gets crippled and gets stroke. Hey, you start talking things. Hey, you disappear. And so, you know, I'm still young. I didn't prepare to be a nurse in the house, you know. And most of the time, sitamato tabafumani stroke. Abafazi, they never get stroke. And so on. So only stroke. Kuba nzima ukuthi nangu baba uthole stroke. Unkosikazi ade ngisemncane kakhulu man. Ukuthi ngizoba unesi la endlini hayi. Kuzofuneka sukuqashela unesi. So uzothola unesi lapha. Of course, it's difficult. You must get a nurse. Nobody at that age will stand. So you've got to do these things. So you stay with something kubi kumnyama. Kubi kumnyama, you stay with it till the end. Because anything can happen in life. So here we are today. The mighty African National Congress is at 40%. Isn't it that moment that we, Communist Party and COSATU, we must be stronger together? This moment. And not at this moment where we say others are leaving, others stay. Of course, they will have reasons. We're engaging with this thing. But I can tell you, comrades, that it's coming. I don't see how, if we are able to avoid it, we must avoid it. But I see the determination of that every day. In your branches, in the by-elections. How many by-elections we fought here in Johannesburg, Sasa?
About 9, including those.
Yeah, and then the Communist Party was there also.
We supported all of them. They worked with us. They are not contesting us.
That's very good, comrades. Give it a big round of applause. And then we won. I mean, you hear what Sasa is saying. He says we worked with them. We contested 9, and we won with the Communist Party. So why should we separate this? And the party even if they had contested, I'm sure we would have won without them. Because the party has never contested for numbers. It has always come into the ANC for quality. And I'm not undermining that point. But if they then use their strength, and then here is the point where you've got to make us pass. We're contesting, we're in the elections, they've got a manifesto, and then we do have our own. Are we not going to clash on the manifesto on the ground? We're going to clash. One way or the other, the others will eat. But over and above, local government, you are going to have a lot of opportunities to cross the floor to the party. By joining Communist Party. Not because ngamakomanisi, babe ngamakomanisi ngoku. Because bukomanisi bukona. And all of that. But the communists will never cross the other side. Will stay here in the ANC. So we're facing that particular difficulty. Comrades, in conclusion, I am saying to you that organizational renewal process through which is about cleansing itself of the impurities and sets itself on the path that is in tandem with vision. Unity of the organization is based on the commitment and dedication of the struggle. Understanding and implementation of organization's values, principles, ethos. And remember what I said. If you forget everything else, I said you can never build a house and a household and family without values and ethos. You see a person and a human being complete as he or she is based on where they come from. And a person is defined by his deeds at the personal level and otherwise by how he or she was raised. So there are no compromises. Customs is thethe namasiko. Rituals. Ekhaya kuyolukwa. Kuyiwe esuthwini. Kokwenu akuyiwa. But I can't undermine you, but there are things that you do. That when I come close to you, I run away. Yeah, these things that those people are doing there. The Tsongas, the Xhosas and all of that. We don't do that. So he thinks when you go to the bush, you just go for one thing. So you can't find them. You can't find them for that. But their values, strong values. That when you see this person, there's something he has not lost. It's respect. But Diana is respectful, you know. He can have many flaws, but respecting people, you can't find flaws. That's how he or she was raised. Even here in the organization, the house we're building of the ANC, if we forgot everything, what are our values? Values of the party, the ANC. And that is why people every day say that, no, the values of Mandela, Sisulu, and all of that are gone. These people, what is the value? The value of the people. That these people don't care about the people. They think about themselves. That is reflected in poor decision making. Or the kind of decisions we take that do not reflect the value system of the ANC. And I've made examples. The ANC in Johannesburg is not in charge. But the ANC can't get into the coalitions like a melting pot. It must also have an identity. The ANC must also have non-negotiables. How? If you are how? Amaxhosa athi waqhawuka ujingi. Exists abantwana bedlala injalo. So we too must be known that yes, we are not a pushover. We can't agree to everything. Okay, let's then persuade each other about this. Because in the negotiation, when you talk to people, you don't win everything. You even go and negotiate with people, but you do have choices. Comrades, we didn't go to the GNU with closed eyes. We are wide awake. Comrades complained, hey, the DA. The DA did not join the GNU because they are our friends. They are not going to cease to be who they are because of we are with them in the GNU. No, they are not. They are even going to be more aggressive. They even claim things they did not do as theirs. All things we did in Home Affairs that are good, they say is theirs. In less than 14 days, Minister Schreiber have done what the ANC failed to do in 15 years. Ikula ma comrade. Which is a lie. Ubeza Jens Anton in 15 days. That is Mtswaleri's work. Deployed by the ANC. You go to Public Works. Public Works. So-and-so has done work, McPherson. Namakamabo, McPherson. Have done something that the ANC failed to do. In 30 years, you have just done it in 5 months. A lie. Simosho ngumntu pa othatha bribe ADT umuntu omnyama intombazana. Bribe abelungu everywhere. Uyabona abantu abamnyama basimoshayo whom we have deployed. And then kuthiwa ANC, he led your comrades, you must not compromise. People must be arrested. We have allowed it for too long that we allow ourselves to sink with criminals. Hindoni lando yo bribe by journalist. Peter Malo, Dutoit or Nguban and Maz. We are bribe wapayan Indombazana pa. Yes, we have given women and women have rewarded us with loyalty and discipline. And I can mention a whole lot of women who led. But when a black soul given a big responsibility to manage huge responsibilities, you have been paid very well. Number one, as a CEO. And then when and all of that, we must be proud of that. Yes, it is moving from alleged to seen now. It's no longer alleged. Hey, lendo sibona pa indoni nyumbaza umzimba ubi and all of that. We can no longer be part of that. We can no longer be part of that. Questionable wealth. And then it used to be called wealth exhibition. Questionable wealth. People can't explain their wealth. If you have made wealth even through tenders, why are you chased by the system? It means there's something wrong with you. And these tenders are now projected as though there's a lot of money. And yet the money is in the hands of the few. Capitalists in this country. Predominantly white and few. That's why Donald Trump can speak and make a lot of noise as he can. Even to Yegi Leliand. You'll be some African America. He has just, we must say, oh, now, we want to rent any dollar. Because there is nothing like all what those car guards who have gone to America are alleging about our country. Those are car guards. Hungry people who just thought that they are going to heaven. There in America. The privilege they have here, poor as they are gone. Poor as they are here, but they lived 5-star. They won't get it in the United States of America. Even the President of America have kept quiet about that thing. There is a mad guy he's trying to bring here as a what is this thing? As an ambassador. An old reactionary force. Donald Trump has bopele yona, usizisela yona up. Hey, we're going to be in conflict with that old man. Yeah. In this country. So, comrades, we are at war here. And it's not over. We are at war, and we must every day be prepared for that. Wherever we are today is a site of struggle. We must fight. So there's no luxury that you are in the GNU and then it's not a site of struggle. You are in Johannesburg. Tomorrow we have officials. They are going to report. They are going to report tomorrow about the things they are doing here. And then others are going to report. The center must hold. The ANC must run Johannesburg. And I'm very happy, and I'm sure yourselves. But the mayor can't be alone in the trenches. We must support him. We must also be in the trenches, but he must lead from the front. And that is what is important for us. Here in Johannesburg is too big. And you are even attacked here by invasions and so on. Nam ngathi ngijikeleza la kwathiwa kukho isquatter camp fikile Mbalula squatter camp and all of that. So akho mntu ngana squatter camp la. So sasa you comrades and in our branch here, we're very happy. We want a united leadership and we're going to support you. And don't be misled about the issue of leadership choices. Again, Leo comrades, it will come. Who you want in the future, president, because he's living now, everybody talks about succession. That's why we are wasting our time. And we're being hijacked. We're being hijacked there in that discussion. We are in trouble. Who's going to be a leader of the ANC when the ANC have lost power? Next year is a very important year in our organization. Even now, they contest here in the regional level, and when you come close to them, they promise you, will make you president, Singabako. And bayaxoxa. Bayaxoxela nje ukuthi no, nawe xa uthanda izinto, no, it's all right, mjane. And somebody just promising you a big thing like president. And then now I'm going to man, am I presidential? Our organization has degenerated seriously. Yazi, I come to Zlinganisela. Everyone given a chance. I'm available. Why is going sideways? When you go behind that particular person, they tell you, he candidate uthetha naye. Uyabona ke ucingo luwile. Uyabona? Yeah, but lithotyiwe yo. Kunqumla nebhokhwe. Uyabona, you see, we are all equal. The eye of the needle is gone. You know, when we went to Mangaung, and then we elected leadership there. And then in Mangaung, there are people who are new. Nothing wrong with comrades. Bantu Olomisa, very good. But we were shocked in Mangaung conference when these comrades got to be elected and they were number one. I heard of Peter Mukaba, Winnie, all those people were there in the 40s. In the National Executive Committee. Number one was Bantu Olomisa. Not that Bantu did not contribute. I know when people talk bad about him, those who don't know him, and when they are angry about him, they say that is a Bantu stand. Bantu has fought for this country. And that, in revolutionary terms, Tina, we don't deny the truth as revolutionaries. So he fought. Of course, we can criticize him for whatever. But he was in the ANC. So he came number one. But we were shocked because, hey, our leaders were back there. We went to Mafike. As the Youth League, we developed a document called Organizational and Leadership Issues. And then that document gave birth to what you call today Through the Eye of the Needle. We adopted in Mafike. And then we said there's no way that the revolution is going to be led by people who have just come in here. It means the organization is depreciating faster than we thought. Because then, leadership had left. Luthuli House, Jonga Chief, the phone in here, please. So, leadership had left the organization and went to government. Mandela. Luthuli House was empty. Provinces were empty. Leaders were elected. They were in the legislatures. First time I saw a comrade coming into the legislature and he comes out with a check, advance check of 11,000. Legislature, I used to stay with Kaiser. We're staying in the Free State, former secretary, provincial secretary of the ANC in the Free State. And may his soul rest in peace. He was a friend of mine and a comrade. So, but we're sharing a house. And they went to the legislature. And when they went, he came back and then he said to him, Chan, and ANC was paying us 2,000 that time. And they were well paid. 2,000 was a lot of money. Salary. And then he came back, he said, Hariso patalu ko anarto patala refumani advance. Hey, I regretted why I didn't put my name in this list. And then in no time, he had a checkbook, he had a credit card. His life was good. In no time, I mean revolutionaries, people who just came from the bush underground. We want power, we're in government. I mean, Desmond Tutu then said, this is a gravy train. And Mandela said, how can a man who have been living in a gravy train tell us that we're in a gravy train? And all of that. Desmond Tutu said, this is a gravy train, we didn't fight for this. So we really saw life in a different light at that particular moment. That is what basically happened. We're not exposed to these things. We didn't know. And Thabo Mbeki take it further and he says, when we arrived at Union Building, there was not even a paper. It was just a desk. Abelungu had left with their knowledge and everything. So they literally, some of these comrades stood from the scratch to build government without memory. And Abelungu then decided then that ANC will not succeed. ANC, leave them now, but they will lose power in the long term. And Thabo Mbeki talks about that. Not all of them celebrated the new dawn of the new South Africa. They said that these ones are going to falter. And then at some point, we will get our power back. And they then worked on the ANC. And then they invested in the ANC. What did they invest? They gave us all sorts of elements in our movement. And we accepted them because we are this omnibus. They came in with ill intentions and the enemy planted in our ranks. And you see the manifestation of that today. In our ranks, you see, behavior. These people is not come here to build our party. Insulting, rebel arouser, all the time on the fast lane of wrongdoing. That's what has basically happened. We're flooded here. That's why it is easy today. ANC members, an ANC member will never join the opposition. A true ANC member will never. They are now wearing our t-shirts. They speak our language. And they cross and they call themselves former ANC. But they've long been here working for the enemy. And the enemy just tell them, spring now, this is the time. Siba, come this side, we need you. You have been that side here, you have caused confusion, it's enough. Come this side. And then we are flooded by fly-by-nights who have been here, but serving the interest of the enemy. and our opponents right in the belly of our organization. Now the only way to deal with them is a renewal. It's like in your house, when there's a lot of flies, faggy doom. They die instantly. Faggy renewal. Renewal is your doom. When you hit the renewal, they're going to leave. Because you are bringing something that doesn't augur well in their DNA. They won't. You won't be liked for implementing renewal. You know, Sasabona, here in Johannesburg, you are the secretary of the region. You are full-time in the ANC. Your representatives are your councillors. There's nothing. We talk action plan now, but that action plan must tell you who is your best councillor. And then you follow them up. And your report is about who's performing best. Leave the councillor. You now come to the branch. You know your branches. When I was regional secretary or whatever that thing I was in the youth league, I used to know my branches by body and soul. Not because branches knew me. And I knew them by name, by surname. And I worked with these comrades to build branches. And so you will know the weaknesses. From the councillor to the branch. When you give the state of organization, you give it by heart. You know, you can't be told by those comrades as such as them. Or you can't be told by justice here that he's got a branch when he's running a branch on Zoom. He doesn't have a branch. Nina, you turn overnight and become Zoom. And all of that. And justice goes to a conference, is a delegate, party branch, I thank. And then you must be able as the secretary and say no. But if you are a secretary that perpetuates that corruption, you think that we are running an organization, we give good reports, membership is intensified. In membership, you paper. When you want these members, you don't find them during the election. Because they were never there. They were never there. Because they were just paper branches of the secretary and all of that. And so, comrades, in conclusion, I am saying that the power that we've got, it's in the branches. And our branch must be the strongest of branches. Branches are defined by activities. There's a lot of things that we need to do here in the branch that attract members. We can meet socially, but we can attract others to be part and parcel. You can't always call people to meetings in today's life, and then you don't say after the meeting there will be drinks. No, in this branch. And then comrades can contribute. When we go now as this branch, we go and visit Kutokunogufa somewhere. Sbetita file lapa. 5 rand, 5 rand. The branch can do that. And then thereafter we buy meat, we sit outside, we enjoy ourselves. Those who can afford will buy more. And then we sit and talk politics. Nicely. SG is in this branch of the ANC, and I'm sure there are other people in this branch. We can sit and chill, have a good time, but talk. And the best advice comes from that informal talk. And then we talk about our branch and all of that. We can have a session. You know Moiko Sisulu, may his soul rest in peace. He used to have a company, a little bit of money. But Moiko, every Friday, he will have sessions at his office. And then he will invite me there. And then he says, no, Max, let's just sit. And then we'll talk politics there. Of course, he's got money. Moiko will sponsor drinks, braai, and all the people we will not meet in a normal ANC branch, they will converge there. Get drunk. Hey, they start telling us nonsense about government. best advisors about, you can think if you give them government tonight, everything will be good. And then over a drink of wine, hey, daughter, you know, I must tell you how you guys are failing us. So, the black middle class, comrades, their definition to power is how it affects their pocket. So, the biggest problem with them now is VAT. The biggest problem with them now is petrol. And is the cost of living. The fact that he must get into his car and to fill up a tank of a car is 1,000 something. Is gone from their pocket. Yeah, this Ramaphosa. Yeah. I don't know when are we getting rid of this guy. This is the monumental failure. Fikile. Nisagcina Ramaphosa apa. And they no longer even say it in the street. Some of them, they say it in my face. But you must get the difference. When you go to the person who's a working class in Soweto, who have praises on Ramaphosa, is different from a person who's a beneficiary of democracy. Because this middle class we've got is a product of our democracy. And because their pockets now are affected, the first thing they think about is this useless government. These things don't think, and they vote for the DA in their numbers. You see them in the queue. In the last election, there were many. And then when I go close to them, over my dead body voting for you. And they don't say it in hiding. And they start telling you about the failures and all of that. They remind you. Very quick and fast. So, if those numbers double up and all of that, we are going to overcome this cost of living thing. One by one. And if we were to lose power totally, those who are going to see boom in this economy, they will say we were sleeping on the job. Now, even our comrades who are in government and in power, they are very quick to criticize us. You know, I had a long discussion now with a veteran of the ANC who calls me all the time and gives me good advice as the SG. And I'll mention his name, Comrade Sidney Mufamadi. He always called me without fail and give me good advice. We never meet. But he make it a point that when he picks something, he will call me. We never meet in a meeting. But he make it a point that, and valid points, Max, there is this thing. When we were there in the NEC, we used to have this problem. And this is how we dealt with it. And even today, I see this thing is coming, deal with it in this way. That's contribution. You feel energized. Not people who call me about deployment, but they are 70 years. No. When you are 70, you must be at home, relaxing, and all of that. So, the fact of the matter is that comrades, whenever they are asked about their movement, even with the problems that we are facing, they go to town to criticize, do all sorts of things. I don't want to be like them when I retire, when I'm no longer SG, and tell other SGs that they are useless. I was the best of the best in my time. And, you know, now I'm concluding. Mandela, you know Mandela. There is something we must learn from Mandela. Mandela had a lot to say about many things, but he respected us as leadership of the ANC and respected the leadership of the ANC. And he had a lot of criticism that he could make. And Mandela just stayed there. And sometimes I thought that, and we invited him to meetings, he would not come, not because he did not want to, because he was going down about this thing. President Mbeki, he never left like Mandela, but he did a lot for our organization. President Mbeki and his collective. And when you talk about Mbeki era, with your eyes closed, you can point at success stories. One of them, if you forget many, is Mbeki leading us on the question of African Renaissance, on NEPAD. The things we talk about today, Mbeki saw it then that Africa can only rely on its own mineral resources to be respected in the world. And there are basic projects that Mbeki started, UNGA in DRC. And Mbeki's era dealt with the issue of conflicts in the African continent. Now today we see coup d'etats. But they are unstoppable. Why there will be no coup d'etat in Cameroon when that old man Boya or whoever is standing? Tell me why there will be no coup tomorrow there. Some brigadier with short trousers is going to take over there very, very soon. I'm telling you. Under Mbeki, we had won this thing. Mbeki said, in the century we are going to is the African century, and the youth must rebel, among others, against dictatorship. And the youth rebelled. Egypt there, Spring Revolution, we brought those dictators down. Mbeki, African Renaissance. Today, coup d'etats are coming back. You must tell me, Museveni is our good friend, but he's been a president for a long time. Mugabe had to be removed by a coup d'etat. Not a coup d'etat. Coup d'etat mixed. Whatever. He had to he nearly died in that position. But we were reserved because we don't want to interfere. These are our comrades. Because they don't interfere in our politics. Zimbabweans have never told us who they like in South Africa, who they don't. So who are we to go to Zimbabwe and tell them that Mugabe must retire? Besiyenza, but don't you think this is the right time? But for you who were there, remember they attacked Mbeki about quiet diplomacy. You remember? And I remember Vavi also attacked me and said that I'm a schoolboy when I said that they are turning left indicating right. A big article, you must Google it, not just about Dubai trip on Google it. Google that particular, defending the revolution in Zimbabwe. And that's what we did there under Mbeki. It's Mbeki who gave us those politics, why it was important. And it is Mbeki who opened us up to the truth that there is what is called a regime change agenda. And there is regime change. But we ourselves are plowing seeds of regime change to thrive. Here in South Africa, regime change will thrive if we don't implement renewal. Now, Mbeki, as our former president, the truth be told, in our leadership and his generation have led from the front, from a difficult period of transition. When they arrived in the union building, they found desks without paper and no knowledge transfer, and they had to run government. And then when they got there, this apartheid left us with a huge debt. But they implemented gear. As much as there was a debate around that, but that is the reality. That's Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki was removed. Not removed. We went to a conference and he lost. I was an engineer, a big one, in that conference of 2007. But I can tell you now for free that as the Youth League president and the Youth League, it was never personal. Unlike others who transformed it to be anti-Mbeki, we were never personal, we were against that term. Yes. And that is what we're against. Now, eventually, Mbeki was removed. And Mbeki left as a president of the ANC. He left. He was not corrupt. He was just removed nicely. He left. He never rebelled. He never fought against it. As a president of the country, he packed his bags and left. Mandela, Thabo Mbeki. And then we came to Zuma. Yeah, Uzuma, we started nicely in Polokwane. Zajika izinto. And then we then had all sorts of things that you don't want to imagine and think about, which actually happened. And Uzuma, you can point at things like I have pointed at Mbeki in terms of his collective. You will find it difficult. Positives are outweighed by the negatives. Under that administration, the ANC managed to address the issue of HIV and AIDS in a big way under Zuma. But from there, everything else was ravished. Life expectancy increased. And I know now I must take this thing out because Zuma people switch it off.